Welcome to the couch, everyone. We're finally back out at Black Diamond Studios, and today we have RJ Fisher joining us. What's going on, bro?
Not much. What's good, dude?
All right, so RJ's doing some vocal work here on the new Burns Down record, Novocaine Mutiny, coming out hopefully in the next month. And RJ himself has technically kind of been, by default, become the lead vocalist of Burns Down, just by the amount of work he does and the amount he's carrying on it. And which is something that I'm totally thrilled to have. You know, when I put pen to paper and start crafting songs, I always imagine them sounding bigger and fuller and richer, and that's something that just not to be hard on myself, I've never been able to carry very strongly. Just have someone come in and take that load off me is always cool. And it's always cool to contribute with other people. It's not just RJ, you know, we've had Cup and Caitlin and Adrian. It's always cool to have people pitch in and help and get their own stamp on it. So but he's out here doing lead vocals on this album, which is, again, it's always kind of tough to be a lead vocalist for Burns Down, because Burns Down isn't really a band. It is, but it's not. It's more of a recording act is what I call it, because, like I said, there's 2 albums worth of recordings, and what other songs I've written, I've never played them live, at least here.
Baker's dozen of sessions.
Yeah, it's hard to count, because think of like Nine Inch Nails. Not that we're as good as Nine Inch Nails ever, but that's a one-man band. So I do most of the groundwork, and then Mark does a lot of his guitar work, and RJ and the other vocalists do the thing, so... But nonetheless, he's become kind of the voice of most of the Burns Down and the style we want. So, me and RJ first met in the karaoke scene about 3 years ago. Actually longer than that, about 4 or 5 years ago. And then we collaborated on our first album. And that was a different time back then. You know, we didn't necessarily hang out right at the forefront. But one thing I knew was when me and Cup particularly were hanging out, we knew that on Thursday nights and Friday nights he would get up. And we already knew it was going to be something great to be coming. That he was a great vocalist and a great singer. To a degree where it always actually kind of broke my ego. Because JD had a way of always scheduling almost for 3 years. He'd schedule them right after I would sing. So it doesn't matter if I thought I did really good. He'd just come up and fucking crush my spirits. And by the way, a little sidetrack, that happened last night too. We're out at Mimos in Forston. There's this brilliant singer out there named Chrissy. He did that to me last night too. I thought I was doing good, and she gets up there and just goes fucking pure Beyonce level amazingness. It's like, why am I even here? Like, why do I even sing? Why do you do this to me?
Well, yeah, but you bring the stage presence.
I guess,
the one that runs around and jumps up on people's chairs and shit.
That doesn't get you any girls. It just gets you fines. So, it's not as fun as you think. But no, so we collaborated back then a lot. And when we first went out, you know, me and Couple spent a lot of time hanging out. But we decided one day, me and Coupland, that instead of making each other look like a bunch of asses, which we were good at, we decided, you know, well, we're going to team up and make RJ. We had to bring this guy down. So we decided we're going to make RJ look like an ass instead. It became our goal for like a year and a half. Speaking of which, Caitlin sends her wishes and says hello, and she got something for you here. So from Caitlin, let's make sure, here you go. We know you have an affinity for scarves and everything, so we want to make sure that, you know, you didn't feel forgotten, that we appreciate what you do here.
I don't even remember how this started.
I was just being a dick to you once. There's a story behind it. We'll tell you some other day, but it's not a happy story. But no, we met at karaoke and kind of just as time went along, got to know each other really well, and then through that, kind of discovered each other's musicianship. And at the same time as getting to know Mark, and everything just kind of fell into place at the same time. The studio's opening up, we were getting to hang out, and in the middle of starting to record my first album, I was looking for some help vocally. And I reached out to some people I knew, and RJ was one of them. Initially, he was only supposed to do a few songs. He ended up doing a lot more because he did so good. I'm like, well, why don't you try this? I remember that process. We get done with a song, I just literally throw a song. I'm like, hey, while you're here, why don't you just try this since we're at it? And believe it or not,
we were both moving away in like 2 weeks.
We were rushing the hell out of that album. That's why we were doing a re-release, by the way, is because we rushed it. We're like, we got to go back and fix the shit we didn't do in the first way. But no, you guys may not know this, but there's a couple songs on there that I was about to scrap because they were just not coming together. Eyes Wide Open and Karma, I couldn't figure out. So he doesn't just sing what's on the page I write him. He actually comes in and adds his own flair, like many of the singers do. And I'm really appreciative because Eyes Wide Open and Karma end up being 2 of the more accepted songs off that album. People just seem to rotate to them more. And I've always tried that as a collaborator. When I get singers, I try my best to make sure that while it's my message or whatever, that I respect the people singing it to add their flair into it. Mm-hmm. So that being said, you know, now with RJ here, so, you know, not trying to boast you up too high or anything, but, you know, you are a talented singer and musician too. But when did you discover, when did it come to you that you realized that you could sing, like that light bulb going on that I can actually do this?
My mommy told me that I was really good at singing. No, I was young. First I don't know, the first performing in front of people I was in 5th grade. They had like a school talent show, and I had just heard through like general, obviously like family and stuff like that, saying that I could sing, and I don't know why I got inspired at 5th grade. I actually went up and did Seasons of Love from Rent, but it was the Donny Osmond version. So
Oh my god!
I remember doing that, and then like in 6th grade, I sang "You Got It Bad" by Usher. The following, it was very
So expect a
Pretty
Rent,
young age.
expect a Burdens Down Rent cover coming up really soon. It's gonna be badass. No, but no, and on top of that, just to reiterate, plus, we out to karaoke and saw you out there. And karaoke is always more of a loose atmosphere. It's not a singing contest. We always reiterated that, but it does allow you, if you're good at something and have passion. And as you mentioned, I'm not a great singer, but the performance side of it, it allows that to happen, and it's a chance to kind of pour that out. But when you're a musician, that's just the thing. It pours out of you naturally and passionately. So, but you don't just sing, you play other instruments. You play guitar particularly really well. So when did you start picking that up?
Oh, I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. I was singing for the first band I was in at the time, and they were doing some guitar parts that required closer to 3 parts if at times, but I never actually got to play. But that was when I started wanting to play, was when we had 3-part guitar and stuff like that. So that's when I finally picked that up and had hiatuses and stuff like that, but still love it.
Yeah. See, with me I'm primarily an instrumentalist. I'm not much of a vocalist necessarily, but I am an instrumentalist, and I was the same way. I had to start till I was 15 years old. That's when I actually first picked up an instrument outside of high school band.
Sure.
I played trombone in high school. Actually, she was really, really good, but that doesn't only get you so far. I need more. But with what I wanted to do, it was, for me, it was a matter of I knew I wanted to do it. Since I was little. I was one of that little kid in 5th grade or 4th grade that when people asked what their favorite bands were, mine were always rock acts and stuff, and didn't really jive with the teachers. I think it was the first 3rd grader, literally in 3rd grade, they're asking favorite musician. I think it was the first 3rd grader in history to say Skid Row was my favorite band. Which, in hindsight, I don't know why I like Skid Row so much. I still don't know why I like Skid Row. I don't really like them anymore. They're good, but it was a weird choice. Anyways, the point, but it's fun to evolve into a gift, and especially when you get to do it yourself and learn it yourself, and you work hard to refine it. So, but this is your second go around. You were on the first record,
Yes.
and now you're on the second one, and there's been some differences, and not just the recording and the sound, but honestly the style's a little bit different because of the messages of this album. So, from your first experience to now, how would you rate the differences or what you're experiencing?
I mean, the sound alone, like you said, is crazy with the things that you guys have done up here at Black Diamond, but it's weird seeing like the old album, which was almost more, I don't want to say grunge, it had more like grit to it and stuff. It's a lot more, this album has a little bit more refinement to it by far, but it's a different play rather than it seemed like everything on the last album was sort of a balls to the wall kind of feel, where especially in songs like SOS, I love that song, but it comes back a little bit, and there's a lot more fullness to it and things like that. There's just awesome improvements in this album.
Yeah, and that first album was a lot, it didn't fluctuate with emotion a lot. It was very intrinsic. It was kind of, and also I was a young musician, so I was refining myself as a recording artist. So you kind of take less chances and refine everything to a box. So that's why I'm happy to have redone some of the songs on it, though, to expand them. But, that first album was very centered around the thought of man versus self. And this one's man versus man, so there's a lot more egregiousness into it, a lot more rainbow of emotion in that. So, that being said, you've done this album now. You've done quite a few tracks on it, so it's hard to keep track of them all. But you already mentioned SOS, which I know is going to kind of follow up this question. So, what are some of your favorite songs that you tracked?
SOS by far is still one of my... That chorus hook is just phenomenal. Oh, I love that song. Doing the Cabinet King cover has been fun. I do like that, getting into Project 86 now. Collapse and PNR are both 2 songs I'm pretty excited for as well.
Me too. Yeah, I have a PNR right now out to someone that I know. He's going to try to do, not professional, but pretty good top-rated lyric video to it. So PNR is the first single I'm dropping. It's going to be released a week before the album. And I'm excited for PNR. I'm excited for them all. Like I said, this album for writing took me in a whole new direction, because when I wrote Billfold, I was a little bit more, I'll put this delicately, cleaner in thought. and I try to be appeasing and appealing and try not to be too egregious. And this album, I kind of let that all go out the fucking door. And I just kind of wrote what was there. And I think it allowed for more raw emotion. And SOS. Yeah. SOS necessarily doesn't have anything what you call explicit in it. Mm-hmm. But it's also not cheering fits in a box. It's really, really pushes the boundaries of someone who's in a state of disparity. True disparity.
Yeah, there's not a lot of happy.
Feeling like, you know, you're worried. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to tomorrow. And that seems cliche, but unless you actually been there, you know that feeling.
Well, happy has never seemed to be Burns Down style.
Well, happy, I don't play with emotion because, you know, everything's written as an album. I don't write songs to say. I write songs for an album. So, yeah, one song may not seem the most happy or whatever, but if you listen to it in the context of the whole record, you'll find that, okay, maybe the song itself isn't happy, but 2 or 3 songs later, things pick back up. Yeah. It's almost contextualized. It's almost like a story. But SOS isn't supposed to. Again, if a song's supposed to be sour, I don't want to sweeten up. I don't want to make someone who's going through depression and just rub it off as just a fad. Like, you know. But so yeah, some of the songs are down. But SOS, it's hard to pick my favorite songs. But SOS is I'm not saying it's going to ever happen. But if there's a song that ever land me anywhere, it's probably gonna be that song. That song is just good. So, last but not least, quick closing out here. So, you've got some side projects you've done here recently and stuff a little bit. What's going on with your music right now, or what are you doing?
Me and my buddy Garrett Wall, a couple of guys from Monroe, Eric Radke, we're trying to get together a little side project. Just some typical jamming. On Wednesday nights, we're down in Dubuque at open mic night. Every third Thursday of the month, we're in Monroe at Bull Aquarian for an open mic night, and so we're trying to get together this project. And Garrett and myself are boys of bigger statures. Yeah. So our project is called The Two Thick Boys. Thick, T-H-A-C-C, thick, B-O-I-S, boys.
I'm not putting that in the comment here.
So, no, just a lot of noodling around at the moment. Just covers week by week.
That's still fun. The thing is, you laugh, but if you can have fun with it, that's what you gotta do, man. Exactly. But I get the whole thing. I envy that because I talk about not having a band, but in a way, I'm glad I don't. Because a few times I've tried it, it becomes a headache a lot of times. Yeah. And so people have asked me about, you know, getting bands together, and I wouldn't mind doing a show here or there, but I actually don't want Burns Down to be a band. And some of that's also ego. I'm such a creative control freak with everything I do that I would have a hard time having other people letting them into more of a full position.
After having written and essentially babied and raised 2 albums.
It does. You kind of get defensive.
Fold,
Well, most people don't know Burns Down began in Japan, and it was a band. It was actually a band. We actually played around Japan. It was absolutely great. It wasn't really good as far as music. We did a lot of covers, but it was still fun, and we enjoyed it. But when everything kind of fell apart in my life, at that point, I was always kind of the driving force, and everyone else, since I was moving, essentially agreed, this is your thing, so you just go ahead and take it. At first, I was honored, and in hindsight, I'm going, that was a dick move, man. They didn't want to put the effort into it. But it's been coming up now 10 years, and since I've actually kind of gone through the phases of this, and I'm so excited. So, but yeah, so again, this thing's right now, the release date's going to be April 29th. That'll be available through CD prints at different locations. I'll post that when the day comes. And you can also get it online through different venues like Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon. I know I'm missing a few. There's Spotify, and that'll also be listed. But hope we're almost done. We're about to wrap up our session with RJ. And from here, we got one more vocal session, knock on wood, to go. And if that gets done, then this album should be on its way pretty soon. But I'm excited. I've been so fortunate to have RJ and Coupland and Adrian. They all have given time up to drive here. It's none further than him from Dubuque to help, and I can't say enough. So that being said, I'm Pep. This is RJ. Thanks so much for following on this journey, and we guys will have something for you soon. Thank you.